Good afternoon, everybody. I am the Cynic, and this will be a video about why I became a man going his own way. For the longest time, I kept hearing doublespeak all of my life. Stop me if you've heard this one. People should be who they are. They should be allowed to be who they are. And then out of the other side of their mouths, oh, you can't say that. You can't do that. You should do this. You should think that. And I'm sitting there going, wait, so should people be themselves and who they are? Or should they conform to what you believe they should be? Well, a little of both. No, you can't be a little of both. You're either who you are, or you compromise who you are in order to satisfy what others perceive that you should be. Which is it? I mean, for all the artifice, for all the bullshit I ever heard, it pretty much came down to censoring yourself and compromising who you are. And I found that kind of doublespeak to be complete bullshit. I hate forcing people to not be who they are, because then you have a world full of fake people. And I hate that kind of deception, because you can never gauge somebody on their merits, because you can only see the mask that they want you to see. I don't do that. And you know what? I don't have too many friends, but the ones I do have, aside from a recent ending of a 12-year friendship, the friends I do have, I know they would take a bullet for me, because I don't play games. I don't pretend to be someone I'm not. And that's why I like the banner men going their own way. It's a man doing as he pleases. He's being who he is. He's being honest and true to himself. I'm sorry for using some stupid rhetoric right there, but he's just being who he is. Fuck societal norms. Fuck whatever anyone thinks he should be. He's doing him. He's just doing him. And I respect that, and I like that. I really like that. And this leads me into equality. And I was debating a feminist about this not too long ago on a friend's Facebook comment post, which I had to address something when she said that she thinks government is needed to make men and women equal. I know I made a video about this already, but this is pretty much the reason I despise feminism, because it's misogynistic as fuck. It's basically the equivalent of all the boys going across monkey bars by themselves and doing it on their own or failing on their own, while all the girls get to have help, getting on the shoulder of the adult, and they just, just go on without putting in the same work and effort. And what pisses me off is they think that they've done the same work. They think that they have earned the same thing that men have. And it truly pisses me off, because it takes away from the good women out there who actually did do the work that a lot of men have done. For example, let's take the affirmative action, equal pay between men and women thing. If a woman does not do the same work, she should not get the same pay. And I've seen how they've come to this conclusion that men and women, or that men earn 70 cents or 33 cents more than women do. 23 cents more than women do. It was from a general, all-encompassing labor statistic. They try to make it seem like women earn less for the same job, which is complete bullshit. It's a lie. It's taken from the national average from government's records for all jobs worked. So no, it's pretty much that women take the lesser paying jobs while men take the higher paying jobs. Mainly because the higher paying jobs are a bit more risky. Hence why men die more on the workplace. If women truly wanted to be equals, and they wanted to be seen as equals, they wouldn't run to the government to try to make them equals. I mean, that's pretty much the equivalent to the big boys playing rough. A girl runs in there, gets pushed down, and then runs and tells her mom, who comes over and says, "You guys can't do that." That's pretty much the equivalent. Of course the boys aren't going to respect her. She went and tattled because they were playing too rough with her. I mean, how the hell are you going to respect anybody like that? It wasn't the mother's it wasn't the adult's business to come and oversee what the kids were doing. Nobody was getting hurt. And I know this analogy might be a little bit confusing, but that's the best analogy I can come up with. It's basically one of the kids going and tattling that the game got a little too hard for them, but they still want to play it. So the adults come in and start, regulating the game. And I despise that, because there are some women who are willing to put in the work. I mean, hell, I've seen statistics that show that single women out-earn single men in certain professions. And I know that's pretty much irrelevant at this point in time, but when I see these feminists throwing out these statistics and trying to paint women as innocent victims or incapable children, it just makes me grind my teeth how they portray false information as fact, and people are so ready to buy into it. I'm sorry, I went on a tangent, but you see my point. You see my point. I mean, as much as, I'm not a misogynist. I don't proclaim female inferiority, and I don't really hate women. It's just these feminists really piss me off, and I don't trust women near at all. I honestly don't. It's just not worth the risk. If that makes me a misogynist, then I'm the happy misogynist. Fuck you. But the reason I went going my own way is because I like to focus on perspective. Not stupid perspective based on false information, mind you, but perspective of the individual. I like to focus on what other people see so that I can understand where they're coming from. Mainly because I don't like aggression. I don't like to have conflict. Unless somebody is being, a complete asshole and using aggression, I don't like conflict, because that's just a show of, ignorance. Disagreement is completely different. Saying, you think your way, I think my way, we're cool with that. But getting back to what I said in the first place about people, saying, I want you to be who you are, but on the other side of the mouth saying, no, you can't think that, you can't do that. I don't like these people because they are the thought police. Oh, yeah. Some thinking is backwards and ignorant. Fine, I get that. But you cannot force people to think the way you want them to, and to think otherwise is ridiculous and very authoritarian. I do not want to force people to think like I think. I want perspective. I want diversity. I want levels of chaos in that. How stale would the world become if everyone thought the same way? But cynic, we gotta have people not be racist, not be sexist, not be culturalist, and so on and so forth. You can't stop it. And there's one thing that always pissed me off. It was the anti-racist, the anti-sexist out there who try to force their beliefs on everybody else and try to make them tolerant, to force them to be tolerant. I mean, most of the racists I've ever met are very subtle about it. And they're not the angry, hate-filled, burn them all racists. They're just kind of, I don't like Asians, or I don't like Mexicans, or I don't like blacks, and I've met a few blacks who didn't like whites. I'm not going to sit there and say, you bigoted asshole, you should think better. That's generalizations, and you're an asshole for thinking that. Shame on you. Shame, shame, shame. Because I know that that's not going to help the situation. I'd rather understand why they think the way they do, and see if I can, work in a little bit of logic to their thinking. And if they are dead set on their beliefs, okay, fine, believe whatever you want. I'm not going to force you to think my way. I'm not going to force you to be tolerant. I may not associate with you depending on how bad your racism or sexism or whatever is, but I'm not going to try and force anyone to conform to my beliefs on what I think their thought process should be. And I despise anyone who tries to force that. It does piss me off, because then you dilute their subjective opinion with what you believe should be objective morality. And I don't want to say it contaminates, but I mean, that's pretty much what it does. And to the races out there, that just pisses them off more when you try to shove tolerance down their throats. I can't really explain how, but trust me, it just really irks them and makes them more pissed off. It's just not a good deal. But what gets me about these people is you've met these people. You've met them. I am 100% sure you have met these people. The ones who have this double speak about what should be acceptable, and then talk about people should be who they are. It's kind of like those people who say, you can't judge me, but it's only when it's negative stuff, but they're all too happy to accept the positive praise that they get. Yeah, you know those kind of people, those hypocritical people. At any rate, this video has gone on longer than I intended. Basically speaking, men going their own way, to me, is the embracing of the different perspectives of men, and accepting those perspectives as what they are. A privilege to have your mind and your opinions, but not forcing that perspective on everybody else. To me, that's what men going their own way is. I'm the Cynic. Everybody have a nice day.